का टॉपिक जो है डिस्कशन का दैट विल बी परमेबिलिटी इन सॉइल, बट फर्स्ट वी विल बी कंप्लीटिंग द portion which was remaining, that is the clay mineralogy part. So moving on to that topic first, then we will be moving on to the permeability and entering into the second phase, that is the permeability in the soils. So when we talked about the octahedron and tetrahedron unit, those two fundamental building blocks would align themselves in what? Definite orientations. In definite orientations we will be discussing how they are arranged or stacked together, that is the fundamental building blocks, that was what? A silica tetrahedron, or the second one which was represented by a rectangle, that was octahedron unit. In the formation of different clay minerals, and major clay mineral groups are kaolinite, which includes kaolinite, that is China clay, and different other things. Montmorillonite example is black cotton soil, illite example is mica. So we will be discussing these three topics here. The very first thing here, kaolinite. Kaolinite structural unit consists of alternating layers of silica tetrahedral with the tips embedded in alumina octahedral unit. So what does it say? That there is one silica unit and just at the top there is an octahedral unit. So this is entire what? Kaolinite structure, the basic unit. When these are combined in layers, so when we combine this in layers, so this type of structure is formed, which can extend to the top or the bottom, and this is one kaolinite unit, this one is another kaolinite unit, and the bond here between these things, between these two, we will be discussing that those are hydrogen bonds. So the layer is about 7.2 and 10 to the power minus 10 meters, that is 7.2 angstroms thick, and it extends indefinitely in the other two dimensions, as we saw here that they can extend in the both the directions. Understand other things, that the structural units are held together, that is this one structural unit is held together by another due to the hydrogen bond in between the hydroxyls of the this one, OH minus of this one, and this is a simplified diagram. So we are showing it in rectangular and octagonal sheet form, and there is silica. So this will contain oxygen, so they will be bonded together, and the major thing is that this one will be showing very lesser swelling and shrinkage characteristics, because if water tries to enter into this, the hydrogen bond, which is pretty strong bond, will try to repel it, and so the characteristics of this will be slightly lesser in swelling and shrinking. When you talk about montmorillonite, this one is composed of two silica sheets and one alumina sheet, that is two silica sheets, this one down below and this one above, silica, and then this one is something in between, octahedron unit. Octahedron unit can contain, that X will be what? It can be Mg2 plus or Al3 plus, anything could be there. So the octahedral sheet is sandwiched between two silica sheets with the tips of the tetrahedral combining with the hydroxyls of what? Of the octahedral sheet, this octahedral sheet hydroxyls and the oxygen of the above one silica sheets. They will be forming a single layer, and this thickness of this single layer is what? 9.6 into 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. This will be the thickness, and the interlayer bonding in the kaolinite was of the hydrogen bond, but here the interlayer bonding between the tops of the silica sheets, like this is one unit. So here some bonding will be there with another unit, and then some bonding will be there with another unit. So this one bonding is due to van der Waals forces, and these are very weak as compared to the hydrogen or other ionic bonds. So when they are weak, so what happens, that the shrinkage characteristics will be more, because water will be trying to what? Enter into this portion and try to replace this structure. So therefore a large amount of water and other exchangeable ions can easily enter between the layers, causing the layers to be separated, which in turn makes it more susceptible to what? Substantial volume change. So these will be undergoing a large amount of volume change when a slight amount of water is added to it or removed from it, and this is particularly shown in what? The in the black cotton soil. Understand here one thing, that aluminum cation which is present at the center of the octahedral unit, this one here, these and silicon cation at this one, in some cases silica is replaced by what, aluminum ion, which results in what, development of some negative charge, which in turn is balanced by any of the cation present in the mineral. So, how this thing happens, we will be seeing that these structural changes in which replacement of one atom by the other takes place is termed as isomorphous changes. So, montmorillonite shows isomorphous changes, and in what form it will be showing? See here, if this is one sheet, this is another sheet, another unit, these are two basic units, this is one sheet, these are joined by the van der Waals forces, these two units, and if the water can simply enter and replace these things, so what will be there? It will be having a large volume and volume change, and also these exchangeable ions can be what? Simple sodium ion or this K plus ion. So, these are the different ions which will be there. Also, here in this diagram we will be seeing that different units, like this base one is this, and then the octahedral unit, and then this tetrahedral unit. So, these are different units which are combined to form a sheet, and this sheet structure is very much small in the length. Next we move on to this thing, that is the illite mineral. Here the structure of illite is same as montmorillonite, that is what, octahedral unit is sandwiched between what, tetrahedral and down and below. Here also substantial replacement of the silica cation by aluminum cation in silica tetrahedral unit takes place, with the only difference, like in the previous case we saw that here it was exchangeable cations which could have been Na plus or K plus, but in the case of illite it will be for sure only K plus ions, this K plus cation will be there. So, understand another thing here, that these K plus ions occupy the positions between the adjacent O base planes, that this one will be the O base plane, this one will be the O base plane. So, these K plus will be here, and the thing is, the hexagonal holes in the silica sheets, here in the silica sheets just have the right diameter to fix in the K plus ion. If they have the right diameter, right fix, so they will be trying to occupy that position, and there will be some difficulty in removing them when the water comes in. So, in that case we understand that the potassium ion binds the two layers more firmly than in case of montmorillonite, because it is just the right fit here, but in montmorillonite it was not the case. Understand another thing, that illite does not swell as much as in the presence of the water as montmorillonite does, but it does much more than the kaolinite. So, when we talk about the comparison between the different swelling and shrinkage characteristics, then montmorillonite is the highest one, then there comes the illite one, that is it is having more shrinkage and characteristics, kaolinite which is the least one. So, this is how the shrinkage and swelling characteristics varies in the presence of different clay mineral groups. So, now we will be moving on to the next unit, that is the permeability, and here we will be discussing different points, what is permeability, and then how the soil hydraulics, that is the total stress or the effective stress or the pore water pressure which is present in the voids, and the seepage and the flow nets, we will be studying this topic also, and then we will move on to what, capillarity and quicksand properties or the condition, that is quicksand condition. We will be seeing these 3 or 4 topics here in this unit. So, the very first topic here, permeability. The very first thing, what is permeability? Permeability means the ability to what, move or permeate or to flow. So, whose property is this? This is the property of what, a porous medium. So, the medium here is important. So, permeability is defined, as the definition says, it is defined as the ability of the porous medium. So, we are discussing about the porous medium here to permit the flow of the fluid through the interconnected voids wherein the flow is from points of higher energy to lower energy. Anything like, let us say, temperature, if it says like 32 degrees Celsius and if it is like 24 degrees Celsius, so obviously the temperature flow will be from this to this one, 32 to 24 one. Similarly, the energy flow is also from a higher point of energy to a lower point of energy. This we know already. So these are the things that is being used. This is the basic concept that is being used in here. So moving on to the next slide here. See here that in this diagram, if the flow is taking place from this end and going towards this end, and datum line is there, this one datum can be fixed, and we measure accordingly the heights or something according to that. If we say it is ZA, that is the datum head, because the measurement is done at this point, then in this section here the water is flowing from this direction to this direction. This is the soil mass or the soil medium. So the flow is taking place in this medium. So this medium will be what? Resisting the flow. And how does it affect? We will be seeing, and how much resistance does it offer will be the basic of the permeability topic. So this one is what? A datum head, which is due to the height from the datum. Then there is something called as pressure head. When we apply a piezometer here, we see that the till here, till this point, this very point, the water rises in here. So that is the pressure head. When we talk about the total head, it will be combination of what? UA, gamma W and ZA. Similarly, when we talk about the other portion here, that is this one here, so this one will be datum head, and if you apply a piezometer here, so the rise here will be what? Somewhat this height, that is H2, say UB gamma W, that is the pressure here, pressure head. And when you talk about the total head, it will be combination of both the heads, that is the datum head and this one second head, pressure head. And this is how we will be going for this thing. When the flow is taking from place from this here to this end, so there is a head loss that will be encountered as delta H. We will be seeing how this is calculated and how different things will be working out in the next slides. The head loss, which is delta H, can be expressed as what? That is in terms of what? Hydraulic gradient, that is I, and it is delta H per unit length. In the previous slide, we noted that the length of flow which we are considering is what? L, this one. So in this length, what is the amount of change? That is this much, this delta H here, this one will be the change in the energy. Delta H will be denoting a energy portion. This is we are talking energy in terms of head here. So the hydraulic gradient, that is hydraulic head loss per unit length, because hydraulic head loss is delta H and L is the length of flow. So I is equal to what? Delta H by L. L is the length of flow between the 2 points A and B, as we denoted in the figure. Understand one thing here, that this concept is valid for laminar flow zone only, because what happens when the flow is laminar? The flow is flowing in layers, and when it is in transition or turbulent zone, the hydraulic gradient will not be directly proportional to the velocity, because in that the different relations will be working out. When we discuss this Darcy law, we will be seeing this topic again. So in most of the soils, the flow of water through the void spaces can be considered laminar, because see here, if a certain soil medium is there and these are the particles here, so the flow which is to take place here through the voids, which is very much less space is there. If very much less space is there, so it cannot be turbulent flow. It will be resisting, the medium will be resisting the flow, and what amount of resistance will be there? That will be causing a laminar flow, not a turbulent flow. So, in most of the soils V will be directly proportional to I, that is the hydraulic gradient, but in the fractured rocks, stones or gravels and very coarse sands, the turbulent flow conditions may exist and the above relation may not be valid, that is this relation V is directly proportional to I is only and only for laminar flow conditions. So, this here laminar flow condition is there. So, in this only V will be, that is this V and then this hydraulic gradient I, V will be directly proportional to I here, but in this case it will not be there, or in this case it will not be there. The relation will not hold good, there will be some other variable which will be coming in transition or turbulent flow zone. When we come to Darcy's law, for laminar flow conditions in a saturated soil, the rate of the discharge per unit time is proportional to the hydraulic gradient. This is what is stated by the Darcy's law. So, in simple terms it is what? The rate of flow, that is the rate of discharge per unit time, that will be V is directly proportional to what? I. So, when we replace it by a constant proportion sign, it will be replaced by a constant, that is K, and this V here is denoting the discharge velocity, that is quantity of water flowing in unit time through a unit gross cross sectional area of soil at right angles to the direction of flow. We will be considering here the soil like if this is the soil mass, so we will not be considering like this, we will be considering at right angles to the flow. The flow is taking at right angles, okay. We will not be considering this this direction or this direction, we will not be taking these different directions. And the second thing here, that is the constant, that is what? Hydraulic conductivity, or we say it as coefficient of permeability. We will be seeing how does it take place, or how this V is equal to Ki will be used in certain other things. Also this permeability can also be defined if we say that hydraulic gradient is 1, that is I is equal to 1, that is if we know that head loss per unit length is equal to 1, that means head loss is equal to what? L. If this happens, at that point of time what happens? That V will be equal to K according to the relation V is equal to Ki. So, permeability in that point it will be defined as rate of flow through the medium per unit area, under what? Unit hydraulic gradient. The unit will be what? Meter cube, meter square per second. So, this will be the unit there. Then here in the above equation, the flow is considered to be taking place through the gross cross sectional area of the soil. However, the actual flow takes place through interconnecting voids, and the interconnecting voids, when you talk about the interconnecting voids, the area of will be much more, in that, like when we talk about this thing, see here, this one will be here, the flow is considered to be taking place like this, and when we are talking about this thing, so the flow is actually taking place through which area? These are small areas. So, here the flow takes place. Here the seepage velocity will be more, because when the area is very much constricted here, for actual seepage the area is very much constricted here. So, if we say that consider this entire section, the velocity is V, and the actual seepage that is taking place is in this constricted section. Let us consider this velocity as V seepage. So, if the area is less, so the velocity will be more if we follow the continuity equation, that is A into V is equal to area of seepage into, that is area of seepage, that means we can say it as voids, and then volume, and this velocity through the voids, that will be Vs. So, the seepage velocity will actually be through the interconnecting voids, and that seepage velocity will be greater than the discharge velocity. And how the seepage velocity and discharge velocity are related, we will be seeing this. See here in this diagram here, that if we consider this soil and flow is from this direction to this direction, and the rate of flow is q, and the length of flow is what, this L. So, when we consider this cross section, this will be a something circular cross section. So, taking here this circular cross section, this one, this is the actual area of specimen. Here we considered what, this A, and the velocity was this V portion. But in actual what will happen, the soil will be containing voids also and solids also. So, there would be some voids and there will be some solids. So, will the flow take place through the solids? No, they will be flowing through the voids or the interconnecting spaces between the solids. So, the flow is taking place actually in this area, and this one, say let us say this A1 and this is say A2. So, A1 you can clearly see is greater than A2. So, the velocity, when you talk about this continuity equation, so the velocity, this V2 will be greater than V1, and V2 is nothing but what, seepage velocity, V1 is nothing but discharge velocity that we talked about. So, by this diagram it is clear that how seepage velocity is greater than the discharge velocity. Now, when we try to prove it, then now if the quantity of water flowing through the unit through the soil in unit time is q, then q is equal to velocity into area, and then similarly seepage velocity into area of voids. This one is what, area of voids, because the seepage velocity is valid for what, for the voids, because it is flowing through the voids. And the total area here, see this one, area will be what, area of voids and what, area of solids, as we saw in the previous diagram there. So, let us see here, V into A is equal to Vs into A voids, area of voids. So, this A can be written as AV plus AS, and then this seepage velocity and then area of voids will be here. When we simplify it, then Vs will be equal to V times area of voids plus area of solids divided upon AV divided by AV, area of voids. Again simplifying this, what we do, we multiply this entire equation by the length, and you already know that volume is equal to what, area into length. As volume is equal to area into length, so we use this and we convert this area into what, volume here, so that we can give different terms which you already have studied in index properties and different other properties of the soil. So, see here, this area into this length will be what, volume of voids, similarly volume of solids, and then similarly volume of voids, which was there in area, it will be now in the volume. So, here volume of VV is equal to what, volume of voids, and Vs is equal to what, volume of solids. So, this Vs will be what, when we simplify it and take something common, that is 1 upon Vs divided by 1 by Vs. So, it will be Vv by Vs plus 1 in terms of this one, and here it will be divided by, the denominator will be divided by also Vs. So, here it also comes Vv upon Vs. We already know that Vv by Vs, that is equal to, void ratio will be equal to Vv upon Vs, this term. So, we will be using this thing here, and then Vs is equal to V times E plus 1 by E, and Vs is equal to V upon neta, because neta formula is E upon 1 plus E. So, basic formula will be V is equal to, sorry, Vs is equal to V upon neta, and this neta is given by E by 1 plus E. So, this is the thing that we talked about here. Also understand here that seepage velocity, when we talk about the seepage velocity Vs, so it is greater than V, obviously when this one is, when this porosity is porosity value is obviously less than 100%. So, this fraction will be making this lesser value will be making this entire fraction greater than the V value. So, obviously we can say from here this numerically also that Vs will be greater than V. Now, we will be moving on to the other topic, that is factors which affect this hydraulic conductivity or permeability. So, here we have used one equation, it is mainly derived from Konzi-Karman equation, and understand here that the permeability is a function of medium particles and then fluid properties. Both the things will play an important role, but also apart from being a function of medium properties and fluid properties, it will also be having some different factors, that is K1, K2, K3, K4, K5, K6. We are denoting by these symbols here. So, you will be seeing that. So, the very first thing is grain size distribution. If it is clay, say if it is a clay or cohesive soil, so what happens? It will be trying to, the water will be passing on with a very low speed, or the permeability will be low. But in case of sand or let us say fine sand even, that will be having a higher value of permeability. So, that thing affects the permeability in the very first case. Void ratio, if void ratio is there, if it is more, then there is more voids, that is the volume of voids will be more in comparison to volume of solids. If the volume of voids is more, then it will be trying to allow the water to pass through the soil, through the medium. Then we talk about the fluid viscosity, that is noted by this gamma and this kinematic viscosity. So, the viscosity of the fluid will also be affecting the, if the water flows or if you try to pass on the honey, then there will be different aspect and there will be different thing here, that is gamma and mu, that is the unit weight of that fluid, and the viscosity of that fluid will also be affecting the permeability, that is the ability of the medium to pass through. Now, we will be discussing these different things here, that is K1, K2, K3, K4, K5 and K6. The very first thing is degree of saturation, then entrapped gases, then foreign impurities, adsorbed water, then type of cation adsorbed over mineral complex, and the last thing is here the structure of the soil. So, how these 6 points, how these will be affecting, we will be seeing that thing here. Understand here when we talk about this K1, just listen carefully, that we are talking about the passage of water. So, if there is already water present, that is saturation value is higher. So, if there are voids, let us say there are voids and there will be solids and there it is voids. So, voids can comprise of what? Voids will be voids will be what? It will be comprising of air and water. So, if water is there, so the values here, it will be allowing it, but if the air is there in the voids, then it will be restricting the water to flow, or it will be trying to block the way of water. So, understand next point here, that when we talk about the entrapped gases, similarly just as air was in the previous case, air was blocking the way, similarly here also the entrapped gases will be, if they are more, then they will be, permeability will be lesser, because why? Because they will be blocking the way. So, similarly the foreign properties will be there, and the next one, that is the adsorbed water, because they will be blocking the way. So, there are few more things K5 and K6, and we will be discussing this in the subsequent lecture, and we will be continuing with another topic, that is the stratified soils and permeability and different other things. So, we will be continuing with this in the next topic.